Hey guys, welcome to another video. So this is kind of the opposite of the video I just filmed, which was my top 10 favorite films of 2019. So in this video, we're going to talk about my top 5 worst films of 2019. But kind of the catch of this video is kind of in the past I would do this also. These have to be films that I have seen all the way through. These have to be films that I haven't just heard about, that I saw trailers for and be like, oh, I would really hate something like that. These do have to be 5 films that I have personally seen throughout 2019 that either disappointed me in some way, it didn't live up to the hype in some way, or there was just something about them that I was just like, oh, that could have been better. So these are the 5 films where I kind of had that reaction the most throughout 2019. But the film that does make it to number one is a film that I legitimately did not like throughout 2019. So as we work my way up to the list, these are going to be films that have disappointed me more and more. So number 5 is kind of the lucky one of this list, and then number 1 is the not so lucky film of this list. So let's just jump right into it because, like I said, I'm sure there's way worse films that have come out in 2019, but these are just 5 films that either disappointed me in some way, could have been a lot more in some way, or just disappointed me in some way. So at number 5, we have the Pet Sematary remake. I thought it was an okay film, but my biggest problem with this movie is there was really nothing about it that warranted why it was getting remade, besides just better CGI and more money to work with for retelling this Stephen King story. There really wasn't anything about this film that necessarily warranted a remake necessarily. So it's kind of the worst possible case scenario for a remake that really doesn't kind of need one, and it's getting one, and there's really no warrant for why it's happening. I also thought Jason Clarke, who plays kind of the lead character of the movie, he's just kind of this unlikable guy. You really never bought him as this doctor, because in the original Pet Sematary, you really do buy that lead actor as that doctor in that movie. This time around, I really couldn't buy him as this doctor. There either just wasn't enough scenes with him doing this, or there just wasn't enough convincing of, hey, he's this really good doctor. He also just has all these choices throughout the movie where you just cannot get behind what he's doing. I also thought, even though I like John Lithgow as an actor, I thought his performance as the neighbor was just kind of too salty for my taste. I thought the Fred Gwynne performance in the original film was much better, much more likable, definitely more of a neighbor that you would want to be friends with more so. And his reasoning for kind of showing the lead actor, the Pet Cemetery in that first movie made a little more sense than it did in this movie. And also another thing with this movie too is I feel like when they go to the actual Pet Cemetery, like the one where if you bury an animal, it will come back to life as an evil animal. It really didn't feel like a place that would really exist somewhere. It felt like maybe something that would exist in like one of the Highlander movies or something. It's just like I can't buy a place like that. So I don't know. There was just so many things about this film I thought really could have been a lot better. Pet Cemetery, the remake, is number 5 on my list. At number 4 on the list, we have a film that actually a lot of people are going to be mad I'm going to put on here, but I thought it was very disappointing. Well, I shouldn't say it. It was an okay film, but there was a lot of disappointing things about it. Some people are even putting this film on their top 10 best of the year, but don't really know why. At number 4, we have The Lighthouse. I know a lot of you love this movie. I know a lot of you are going to probably throw your computer at the wall by hearing me say this, but I just really didn't care for this movie. Sure, it's in black and white. Sure, it's a film that we don't get to see a lot of anymore, like people were saying, but I just really couldn't get behind it. I just didn't care about Robert Pattinson's character. I didn't care about Willem Dafoe's character. There was just a lot of scenes where it's like I can't get behind these two like jerks. I can't get behind these like really terrible people who are on this island, and I really don't care what happens to them because I don't care about these characters. And it just was kind of boring, and just it was just kind of weird for the sake of being weird at times. It just wasn't a film for me, so I'm going to put it at number 4 on my list. The Lighthouse was really not a film for me. At number 3, we have It Chapter 2, and the reason why I have it on this list is not necessarily it's a bad movie, but I really liked the It remake from 2017, and I was really hoping for a true follow-up, because if you saw the It miniseries from 1990, the part with the adults is always kind of the part that makes people angry. More people have more nostalgia of that first half of that miniseries over the second one, which focus on the adults. And unfortunately, this time around, we actually got something I thought was worse than the miniseries, to tell you the truth. Yeah, it didn't have the bad spider creature thing that the miniseries had of Pennywise at the end of the story, but there was just a lot of things about it where it's like, really, you went that way with it. I thought the battle with Pennywise at the end was still not so great for the most part. I thought there was just a lot of footage they really didn't need. It was almost a 3 hour film, and it really should have not been that long. It easily could have trimmed out 45 minutes. There's a lot of misleading directions. There's just a lot of things about it that does not live up to the hype that the 2017 film had. It doesn't feel like the proper continuation to that great 2017 film of the It story. There's just a lot of things about it where I just felt more so disappointed than happy with it. So I have to put It Chapter 2 at number 3 on my list. At number 2 on my list, we actually have a film where I was really hoping it was going to be great. It was kind of one of our first big films in 2019. I was really hoping it was going to be the return of M. Night Shyamalan for sure, because, he knocked it out of the park with The Visit. He knocked it out of the park with Split. I wasn't a humongous fan of Split, but I liked how it took place in the Unbreakable universe. So I was really hoping that Glass was going to be the film that kind of bring M. Night Shyamalan back for good, and that we were going to be happy about seeing an M. Night Shyamalan film again. We were going to go back to like the Sixth Sense days and the Unbreakable days and the Signs days. And unfortunately, Glass did not do that. Glass was a sequel that was 19 years in the making after Unbreakable. M. Night Shyamalan had more than enough time to make a proper continuation for both Unbreakable and for Split in the same movie. And I gotta say, I was really disappointed with it. There's just a lot of things about it that are good choices in certain scenes, but as an overall movie, as an overall product, there's just a lot of creative choices I thought could have been way better with this movie. It just doesn't feel like the proper continuation of Unbreakable like it should have been. And there's a lot of cool things in it. There's a lot of cool scenes with Bruce Willis. There's a lot of cool scenes with Bruce Willis and his son. And yes, they use the same actor from Unbreakable to play the son in this movie. There was a couple of cool things they used with Mr. Glass, played by Samuel L. Jackson in the movie, but overall, I was pretty disappointed with Glass, and I have to put it in at number 2. There's just a lot of disappointing things about it. But at number 1, we do have a film that I can easily say that I did not like at all, and kind of like The Lighthouse, everybody fell in love with this movie, and I have no idea why. I don't know if I walked into the wrong movie. I don't know if I saw a rough cut of this movie. I don't know what happened. I don't know if people just enjoyed the fake politics of this movie. I really don't know what it was. But at number 1, we have the film Long Shot. I did not like this movie at all. I thought the concept first going into this film was going to be funny and creative. It is not. This is an unfunny, unoriginal, not entertaining at all kind of movie that has fake politics, a bad performance from Seth Rogen, a bad performance from Charlize Theron, who I normally love in movies. There's just a lot of annoying things about it. It's a very nauseating movie. There's a lot of really kind of sick moments in this movie, really, too, involving Seth Rogen in a couple of scenes. It's just a very unpleasant movie to watch. There's just not a lot of things about it that I liked. And like I said, it has a very fake view of politics. There's just a lot of like social media threat things in it, and Twitter battles, and like things that clearly don't happen in real life politics. And if they do, shame on them. But this film is just, it's an embarrassment. It really is a bad movie. And I normally love Jonathan Levine's films. Like I loved Warm Bodies, and I loved 50-50 back when he worked on that. And 50-50 also starred Seth Rogen. So I don't know what happened here. Normally, I like what Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron and all this talent does involved with this movie. Andy Serkis, of all people, has a role in this movie, and I love the stuff that he normally does in film. There's something about Longshot that really bothered me. I did not like this film at all. It's easily my least favorite film of 2019. So that's my top 5 worst films of the year, you guys. Let me know down below what some of your worst films were. Yes, I know there's probably way worse films than this that I've listed here. Like I've heard horrible things about Cats. I've heard horrible things about that new Charlie's Angels reboot. And I've heard really bad things about what was that one with Keanu Reeves? It was called like Replicas or something like that. So clearly films that I did not see, so I cannot put those on the list because I just physically have not seen those movies. But these were my 5 films I thought were either disappointing or lacking in some way. And yes, Long Shot is a bad movie in my opinion. So that's my top 5 worst films of 2019, you guys. Let me know down below, like I said, what some of yours were, and I'll see you here for the next video.